So the fact that I'm seeing that now where everyone's like, excuse me, do not say anything negative about our glorious...
Yeah, in terms of Pokemon, I guess I would say the 3DS games are better, but it's like, it's very marginal. Like, I think the 3DS generation was really like when Pokemon changed a lot for the worse.
Excuse me, from everything I see, Sun and Moon people don't like much at all. Ultra Sun and Moon people like better because they make Sun and Moon like unnecessary. X and Y people are very like average about, and I guess people like Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, but they're remakes of games people like. Do I have that right, or am I completely off there?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Whereas I guess if you look at the Switch ones, the only one that I see people constantly like ask about, so therefore it must be a pretty good game, is Legends Arceus. Which, by the way, folks...
Yeah, I think that's like probably the most favorite.
If you want my opinion, if you're like... Because people are always like, should I buy this game? Is it going to be worth more someday? Okay. That's literally what they do. Because they go, I'm going to buy this game and one day it'll be worth $70 instead of $60. Meanwhile, the US dollar is not... $60 is not worth 70. Anyway. If you want an opinion, I don't think any of the Switch Pokemon games are ever going to be expensive. They made so many...
The 3DS games are still all $40.
Right. However, there is one that has a chance, and I think it's Legends Arceus. And the reason I say that...
It is definitely the most unique of all.
It's the most unique, and just from my perspective, it's the one that we're constantly sold out of. Like, all the other games we get in pretty often, and they'll sell. Like, we get a lot of copies of Sword and Shield, and we always have a lot of copies of Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. But Legends Arceus, we never have more than, like, one copy at any given time. So if there's one game on the Switch that 5-7 years from now might be like $80-$90 for a Pokemon game, it would be Legends Arceus. I'm not necessarily saying it will be, but that's the only one that has a chance. I know that Pokemon Black and White 2 were not very popular at all when they came out, and now they're like $150 with the box. But I just don't see that happening with the Switch, especially with how many copies of each of these games they made.
I agree.
That was one we had for whatever reason, I had like a bunch of copies of Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. I think it was just we had a bunch of pre-orders, and I was like, well, I'm just going to order so many that I don't have to order for the rest of the holiday season. And that game came out like 4 or 5 years ago, and we just finally sold out of new copies like a couple months ago. And I also had to price drop it like $10, which that's pretty unheard of for Nintendo-based games.
Yeah, and also Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond are like one of the weirdest Pokemon games because they're like actually not made by Game Freak. It's like one of the only like mainline Pokemon games that's like that.
Yeah, if you want general advice, if you want to be one of those investor bros, which by the way, don't be this, but it's a fun topic to talk about, and you're like, what games will be worth money someday? Find the most weeb friend you have. The friend that likes...
Oh, I have a Switch game that will probably be worth something someday. Spencer literally ordered a copy for me. Emio the Smiling Man. It's a visual novel based on Famicom Detective Series, which is literally dates back to the Famicom. It's like published by Nintendo, and it turbo flopped. And I think that game will be definitely expensive someday.
I could definitely see that. Although...
Oink, oink, oink.
Although the... didn't we say the same thing, I think both of us, about Tokyo Mirage Sessions? and it's like has no value.
That is...
Or is that different?
It's true. I think Amio sold like a fraction of Tokyo.
Oh, really? Wow.
And also, I don't know. You're definitely right. It could be worthless.
Anyway, my general...
But I think Tokyo Mirage Sessions is really weird, because it's like a Weeb game, but it, like, appeals to, like otames, like girl like weebs, and like the market for that in like the West is so minuscule.
Right.
And it's like, who is this made for?
But yeah, to finish my advice, find the friend that has the most unique taste in Japanese stuff. You don't have to necessarily think they have good taste. In fact, it's probably best that they don't have good taste. And ask them, just like, show them a game and be like, do you think you'd like this? And if they say yes, then you should probably buy a copy of that game. Because for whatever reason, really, really niche Japanese-based games, like the more niche, the more Japanese, the better, end up just being the really, really crazy expensive ones.
So we got the Titan's Mid, so I'm leaving the dungeon immediately, because we can do a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to get, I have a save file where I got all 100 Maiamais.
Nice.
But the other thing you can do is that, like I was saying, you can get a Titan's Mitt from it. Or, not, that's the item you get. You get a Master Ore.
Oh, nice.
In low roll. So I'm going to do that, upgrade my Master Sword, and then get the 100 Maiamais. Because we're arguably doing the hardest boss next, without any of the, like the blue mail or anything.
But just in general, if you want to be like that, and I'm not going to stop you with the Investor Bro stuff, just find people with very unique, very niche tastes. For instance, I trust myself on horror stuff. I like horror games, and I like bad horror games. So I generally know when something's going to be pretty, like... When I heard about Callisto Protocol and it came out, I was like, this game's going to be like $10 for the rest of the time. But there's other, like, back in the day, I bought, like, Silent Hill 4 and Siren, and if I would have known that, Kuon was a thing, I would have bought it.
Yeah, it's one of those games that it's sold so poorly.
I never heard of it until my adult life. Yeah. But I knew about the... I don't trust myself on Japanese stuff. Like, I knew about the dot hack games, and I was like, this is weird. But, so like I said, find someone very unique about the thing that they like. Horror, Japanese, RPG stuff. Those are generally the big three that, end up being rare and expensive one day. Because for some reason, horror fans will just spend tons of money on bad things. It's very interesting. Like, they'll be like, oh my god, the teen girl slasher at Cheerleader Camp 2 is finally on Criterion 4K Blu-ray. Yes, I will spend $80 on this. Like, that's just horror fans for you.
Yeah, it's such a niche thing, but the people that like it are quite hardcore.
Quite hardcore.
No, I should, Whoop.
Yeah, you could literally make a movie called Girl Runs Through Woods Away from Murderer and People Get Impaled 7, and they'd be like, alright, sign me up. Where do I sign?
Uh-oh. I mean, I have a bunch of... What am I thinking? I can just slash.
You can do 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 do. Remember when Slash? What was that band that Slash was in? Velvet Revolver, I want to say. And they had a couple...
Oh yeah, that stupid song from like GH5 or something.
I think they also had one of the early GH2 or 3, probably 3 DLC songs. And I was pretty obsessed with it because, not the song itself, but the fact that, like, just that there was very few DLC songs available. And like now with that Rock Band everything.
That there rock man there.
And there's times where I'm wrong with stuff like that. Like when I played that game White Day, A Labyrinth Called School, I was like, oh my god. This game is so bad. It's going to be like $5 billion. Yeah, and then they like re-released it, and I was like, for what target audience? For whom?
And there are like physical Japanese games that definitely go up in price, but it's not a lot. I don't know. It feels like a lot of things are pretty stagnant, and a lot of the value just comes from stupid limited run games. I hate limited run games.
Isn't there that other company called Super Rare or whatever?
It's so lame.
Right?
Yeah, I think you're right, though.
And they're like even more limited than Limited Run. And it's like, gosh.
There definitely are weird ones. Like, I know there's an Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle or something like that. It was like a director's cut of Attack on Titan 2. That one's like a $150 Switch game. At least last time I checked, it might be less.
I did buy one game from Limited Run. Obviously, with the store, we get, used Limited Run games in. But I did buy one. It's that, the Clock Tower, rebirth, whatever you want to call it, coming out soon. And I bought the Switch Collector's Edition, and you better believe I'm not opening it up because there's literally no reason. I'm not going to play Clock Tower on the Switch. I'm just going to see if there's a digital version for the PS5, or just buy a used copy for the PS5.
And the other thing is that when Limited Run does physical releases for stuff like that, it comes out like 6 months later.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I bought Spencer and me a copy of the Dominus collection for Castlevania, which just came out like a month ago, but that's not shipping until like spring of next year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so, I just quit from here. So I did everything I needed to do. I got the upgraded Master Sword. Off screen, I used the Titansmith to get all 100 Maiamais. I'm not showing that on screen. It takes way too long. But that's...
yeah, that would not be the most fun thing to see.
That's all we've done for this save file. Oh, whoops. Another thing I did is... I just got a lot of rubies. So we can skip that grind. And there is a bottle that you can get from a fairy. I think I talked about this last part, but you have to give her like 3,000 rubies.
Yeah, you showed that.
And I did most of that off screen.
Like, watch where you're running. I kind of like ridiculous stuff like this. With the whole, like, getting up to 3,000.
Yeah, this game is such a rupee dump.
As long as it's not absurd. Like, to the point of having to grind for, like, hours and hours and hours. But this game seems like it gives you rubies pretty quick.
Yeah, they really give you, like, a lot. You can, in fact, if you do the 50 floor challenge, there's like a challenge tower up in Death Mountain in Low Roll. And if you finish the 50 floor one, you get like 5,000 rubies just from that, or like 3,000. So you just do that like a couple times, you're good. But if you can complete the 50 floor challenge in this game, you're pretty much, there's nothing that is going to challenge you at all other than the final boss. Alright, so we got the 5th and final bottle. Now to buy everything from Ravio.
I feel like that's always a meme where in these games that have bottles, say there's 4 of them, getting 2 or 3 of them is easy peasy, and the last one's always like, actually do this really crazy thing. You know what I mean? Like, they almost hand you a couple, but then if you want to get all of them, they're like, no.
Yeah, even in Ocarina of Time.
It's the Poe thing, right?
You have to do the 10 big Poes.
And that's such a grind, yeah. Not even a grind, it's just very specific what you have to do.
And the Majora's Mask, that has 6 bottles, but the 6th one is the final day, like, you have to lead Dampé around.
Oh my god,
and get the 3 fires. It is so annoying.
I need to watch, I love the 100% speedrun of Majora's Mask. It might be, like, top 5 speedrun of all time. It's just really, really great. The only kind of lame thing about a lot of the Zelda speedrunners nowadays is they just, like, a lot of them just do randomizers, which is cool, but I can only handle that so much.
It's true. I don't watch ZFG, like, do randomizers all the time. I think they're interesting.
Every time I tune into him, he's doing a randomizer, and I'm like, I get it once in a while, but being the majority thing, it's like, I don't know.
He's just been waiting for a long time for the 100% speedrun route to get like fully rerouted, and they keep finding new stuff and other things. So it's taking literally, like, at this point, years. But he has, like, I watched like something just recently, like a month or two ago, where he's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna go back to 100% like soon, TM.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think he actually is doing, like, a randomizer speedrun for a GDQ, which is very interesting. I know GDQ's been doing that, like, recently, not that I watched it. But the fact that they're okaying, like, a 4-hour randomizer, obviously,
wow.
They're gonna make sure that it's, like, completable, even though it's no logic. Like, they're gonna have someone, like, make sure that it's not a soft lock, like, seed. But that's pretty interesting that they're doing, like, a 4-hour, like...
Oh, they're gonna have somebody, like, play through it ahead of time, and then just do the exact same seed. Okay.
So, the ZFG won't know it, but they'll just make sure that it's, like... I don't know. The one that I can think of is, like, Big Ron, or the Hammer locked behind Volvagia, and Volvagia can only die to the Hammer. So, like, if that happened, and there was, like, a dungeon reward there that you needed, you can't complete the seed.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, I noticed the, recently they've been doing a lot of the, Ocarina of Time / Majora's Mask, which is really cool, but it's also like, alright, my brain can only handle so much.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, I watched, ZFG did that between the two games, and it ended up taking, like, 16 hours over, like, 3 streams.
Makes sense.
It's like my brain.
Yeah.
And, like, he said that the ultimate thing he wants to do before he's done with randomizers is to do a randomize everything. Like, all, like, actors and NPCs and, like, bushes and, like, everything. And also have decoupled entrances. So, like, entrances will just lead to random other places. And they're not even coupled, so you can, like, go into a house and then leave. And then that house will lead to another house, and then you leave, and then it takes you to another place entirely.
Holy moly.
That sounds like the most awful thing in the world.
Yeah, that sounds like a 50-hour thing. Even, would he want to do 100% for that? I mean, I can't even imagine. It'd probably just beat the game.
You pretty much have to do 100%.
Oh, I guess you're right, yeah.
And it's really scary, because there could be stuff like, I don't know, like, things being... Like, Ocarina of Time being in the moon in Majora's Mask would be, like, an uncompletable seed. But you only figured that out 40 hours in. It's like, whoop!
Can they even... Like, so with no logic, it could very easily be a non-completable seed, then.
It could be, like, Oath to Order, which is the thing that you need to call the giants to stop the moon from crashing to get to the final place.
Is on the moon.
And it's on the moon. It's like, well, seed's done.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But unless you get lucky, like, they do have, like, hints in it where you talk to, those statues, I forget what they're called, and they give you hints, but, so you might get lucky and be like, oh, Oath to Order is, in, the moon. It's like, oh, okay, we can just reset now. But sometimes you don't get that lucky.
Oh boy. I like Resident Evil randomizers. I think because it's a much smaller game, a more compact game, I think they make a lot more sense.
It's also really interesting because, obviously, Resident Evil is all about resource management and, like, just doing what you can with what you have. Okay, so here's the 100 Maiamai reward. Actually upgrading this Link himself. And the reward is amazing. So you get the Great Spin. I'll show it once I leave. This is no Wind Waker Great Spin, which is crap. This is incredible.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
Doesn't the Wind Waker one make him dizzy?
It makes him dizzy,
Okay.
and you can't control him for like 5-10 seconds.
That's right. You just go like flying around. Okay, yeah.
All right.
That's
Finally going back.
That's literally like 80% of the screen is just like completely covered. Although to be fair, to get all those Maiamais, you really have to like.
You have to go everywhere.
Yeah.
It is such a commitment.
I'm totally fine with that. If somebody wants to take all the time to do that, I think the rest of the game should be easier for them. That's perfectly fair.
Oops.
Yeah, I specifically like Resident Evil ones because the logic on those is usually a little more sound, and you also have to like constantly revisit certain rooms. Like I like watching someone being like, "Oh, I need an item box," and then just like while I'm watching as well, be like, "Oh yeah, where was that item box?" You know what I mean? Like. And sometimes you have to go like 10 rooms back to find the item box again. You're like, ah. Sometimes they go a little crazy where they do like enemies as well, and you just walk into the first room and there's like 7 tyrants, and I'm like, okay, this is like every Doom wad from back in the day.
Yeah.
When you would just be like, hey, check out my Doom wad. It's a big room with 1,000 cyber demons, lol. And you're like, alright, thanks. And they don't even give you like a BFG. They're like, you gotta beat him with a shotgun, lols. That's like, I don't know, just Gary's mod ridiculous, but way before Gary's mod. Because it's very easy to just be like, I put 100 bosses in a square room, dummy. Wow, yeah, this makes this way easier.
Yeah, if we didn't have the upgraded sand rod, I would have to like micromanage like making sure it's up every 10 seconds.
Oh, so the upgrade just makes it permanent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Must smash harder.
Well, they go in order. That's so nice of them. Wait. Oh, yeah, you can just do that the whole time. You can tell that.
Weird hitbox.
Surprised it only took 1 hit.
Those guys' gimmick is that they're really hard when they're in the sand, but when they're outside, they're like virtually helpless. And we do have the red sword, which is 3 attack power.
Was the red sword the thing you just got from the Maiamai? Or did you just get that great sword?
No, that's from me getting the 2 Master Wars, and I went to the blacksmith and upgraded.
Right.
Man, this dungeon's so long. This is probably the most complicated dungeon, other than probably the ice dungeon.
Did we do the ice dungeon yet?
No.
Yo, the ice dungeon still gives me nightmares from Link to the Past. That, despite not being like the longest thing out there, holy moly. What are we doing with this?
Oh yeah, I'm just removing it, so we can, yeah, so it starts doing this. I had a brain fart. I was like, what is the point of this gargoyle?
Yeah, that took me a little bit there.
Oops. Oh yeah, I have to fill this with sand. Yeah, I had this part practice like a while ago. I didn't feel like redoing it, so I have most everything memorized, but... Whoa!
It's literally all over.
So the one upgrade I really don't like is the big bomb. It's more strong and has a bigger blast radius, but it can also hurt you. It's pretty,
Can the original bombs hurt you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the blast radius is like
Yeah.
2 or 3 times bigger.
More of a waiting game at that point. Okay, so that's gonna keep going. You can only have one at once. Bonk. Neat.
Yeah, the more I play this game, the more I really like the dungeons. The first 3 are obviously pretty simple, but they get way cooler. Alright, now I can get... Big key, cool.
Let's go. When are you gonna send those in? All those extra pieces, like the tentacles? I don't know what they're called.
Those are just for potion making, and
okay. So
they
there's
are...
not a limited number of them.
No. Yeah, they're just random drops. In fact, there's a place in the final dungeon where there's 1 million, like, skulls that you can break in a room, and they drop from those in plentiful amounts. And the potions are only really, like, super good for, like, the final boss, and I think that's pretty much all I'm going to be using them for. Button.
Those things. The scourge of everything.
They sure are awesome. Oh, pointless.
No! If only it were that easy to get rid of him in the other games.
Okay,
Wow, that many hits with the level 3 sword.
yeah, you can hit them with fire to make them turn into those, like, dancing skeletons.
Oh, that's right.
But I find that they're just a lot easier to manage just wailing on them, because they always are in that hit stun where they don't move. Oh, whoops.
La la la! Right, No! No, my big purple butt. What?
I cannot believe it.
That? I expected like a mini boss there. That was actually like
This game has like barely
oddly
any...
disappointing.
I'm trying to think of how many mini bosses this game even has. It's like very few. What?
Sniped you. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So cool.
Yeah, very cool. How are you supposed to know that?
Look at the map.
Nobody told me about a map. Oh, I did watch that, well, not watch. I listened to that entire, how long was that? 4-hour video on Darkside Phil?
They talk about his gotcha addiction.
Yes, thank goodness. It was,
I swear Spencer watched that entire video just to hear them talk about that.
I was interested in just the whole thing. Just...
The only thing that I find super funny about DSP is when he won that Street Fighter 2 Turbo tournament, on the worst version, and he just would not ever let it go. It's just like, that's peak DSP.
I mean, man,
like, he literally did win a Street Fighter 2 Turbo Evo tournament. That is in the history books, but it's the most scuffed tournament of all time.
So in sports, we have a phrase for it. It's a Mickey Mouse Championship, or a Mickey Mouse ring, essentially meaning like you didn't earn it. Like, it's like very whatever. So like LeBron James last time he won the NBA championship was during COVID with I don't know why you would know this, but the NBA for like the latter half of the playoffs and everything did it in what they called the bubble, which was just like all teams were at like one stadium and they just like all played each other. And then LeBron James won the championship there, so everyone's like Mickey Mouse Championship, or like say RJ would be super mad to hear this, but like the last time the Steelers won the Super Bowl in 2008 was the year that Tom Brady tore his ACL on like the first drive of the year, and obviously didn't play, and Tom Brady was always the one to like take out the Steelers. So Tom Brady gets hurt, and then they win the Super Bowl. So you could be like, Mickey Mouse Championship, didn't beat Tom Brady, deal with it. And that's to get to my point. That's what DSP did there. He didn't face any of the hard people.
Yeah, a lot of people just didn't want to play because it was just garbage.
He faced a bunch of scrubs and was like, "I'm the champion," and it's like, "You sure are, bud. You sure are."
Wow.
No, just everything about it was just like surprisingly interesting. Like his start, the fact that he's had like 3 long-term girlfriends that like lived with him, that like blew me away. I'm like, okay. And they were like not like the complete worst people of all time. Like his current one or second current one is like a normal human being, and I'm like,
what?
You would expect them to just be like, I don't know, just like the weirdest internet people ever, but they're like somewhat normal. Or I forget if it was, I think it was a hat. He had a span of like 180 days where if he reached like $100 in stream donations, he put on this like hat. Did you ever hear about that? It's like the dumbest thing ever, but he was like very hardcore about it. And then one day he streamed, and he can only stream for a couple hours, and he was super mad that the streak was broken. I was like, well, I guess if you guys can't donate, I guess I just won't wear the hat. It's just like, okay,
so lame.
It's like, okay, got it. And then of course the gacha stuff is just amazing. Like the fact that people spent the time to figure out, like, and it was pretty obvious. Like, I forget, his name on that was like something very obvious to like an email he made before. It's like, wrestler Phil guy, I'm Darkside Phil, or whatever. And it's like, no, it's not me, it's someone else. It's a troll. It's like, all right, buddy. It was just very interesting to listen to. And it's funny because I would never watch a single second of his streams because he's actually an extremely boring person. Like, he's bad at video games, he plays games that don't interest me personally. But if you show it to me as a 15-year-long slow car wreck, it's very interesting. But, like, if you were like, watch this stream for 3 hours, I'd be like, oh god, no, I'm never gonna do that.
Your jot is superb.
That's right!
What a hero it is. Your jot is superb. Alright, should I stop or do another dungeon?
I would say stop so we can do some let's tries and stuff like that. Maybe even Rock Band?
Yeah, let's do some rock.
But anyway, if you guys want to watch that video I was talking about, it's by Joon, Joon the King. It's like 3 hour on DSP. Put it on when you're like, just, I don't know, when you're taking a walk or working out. I put on videos like that when I'm at the store before or after close, while I'm just doing like busy work and stuff like that. And it's great. It's fun. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. We'll do some more Link Between Worlds. And bye.